Shows like last night have become the norm for Raw since the Superstar shakeup. It wasn't necessarily awful, it just felt thrown together. Now, I've seen this called one of the year's worst shows so far, but honestly I don't think it was that bad. It was just haphazard. After all, we got to see my man Elias score a big win, Balor vs Owens was pretty good, and Constable Corbin at least looks like a bit of harmless fun. That being said, the tag division is still thinner than my hairline, and the Sami Zayn Bobby Lashley feud still exists, so it definitely isn't all positive. With all that in mind, I'm Andy for What Culture Wrestling, and here are the things you may have missed from last night's WWE Raw. To start at the very top of the show, we got an in-ring segment with Seth Rollins, Elias, Jinder Mahal and Roman Reigns all getting into a big scrap, leading to a tag match. Seth was pinned by Elias here, and a lot of people are already bemoaning this online, but look at it this way. Rollins was carrying a kayfabe injury, he was distracted by Sunil Singh, he ate a DDT which was damn near on a chair, and then he ate Elias' finisher too. That's a lot of protection, and to top it all off, the main focus of the match was on him versus Elias, and not Reigns versus Jinder. This is totally unusual for an Intercontinental Champion, and it speaks volumes of how highly WWE think of Seth and his current run. Yes, he lost, but let's stop calling it a burial. It was actually very well booked. David Otunga stepped in for Jonathan Coachman in the announce booth last night. Unsurprisingly, he was pretty bland, but as WhatCulture.com's resident rap nerd, he did pop me personally with a Pusha T reference. During the Zayn and Lashley segment, Otunga dropped a reference to the former Clips rapper's new album Daytona, which is a bit good by the way, to which Michael Cole responded with an awkward giggle. Big Dave might be a bland commentator, but at least he has good music taste. From good Otunga to bad Otunga, Dave said in the tag match featuring Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins that the big dog was effectively the uncrowned Universal Champion. Really? After 2 consecutive losses to Brock Lesnar? You just had to ruin it. Raw was in Houston, Texas last night, and WWE tried to play up to the local crowd by having Kurt Hawkins face off against a local talent named James Harden, which is, of course, a direct reference to the Houston Rockets shooting guard of the same name. Unsurprisingly though, this wasn't actually his real name. The guy in question was a wrestler by the name of Will Lockhart, who competes as Will all day and trains under Booker T. Presumably the reference to the leading NBA player was designed to pop the fans, but it didn't really work. Might as well have called him Tony Bone. Speaking of Hawkins, Raw's biggest goober scored his 200th consecutive loss last night, having previously promised to dish out tackles to everyone in the building had he won. That being said, it's probably a good job he lost though, because if you have a look at the table he set out at ringside, he only brought about 40 or 50. Silly prick. We spoke about Nia Jax's dumb character last week, but I'm afraid we have to do it again because her inconsistencies got even worse last night. 1 week after being presented as the biggest bully in the company, Nia did another complete U-turn, showing genuine sympathy for Natalya backstage after she'd hurt herself while wrestling the Irresistible Force, which is just terrible. WWE need to pick a direction and stick with it. Either make Nia a big nasty bully or keep her babyface. Don't swap it on a weekly basis. Why even bother with last week's trash if you're gonna have her all nicey-nicey on the next show? Jax is already having enough trouble getting over as it is, and this is just killing her. Poor show, Houston. Your sign game was pretty whack last night, but eagle-eyed viewers may have spotted Reddit user We Go Deep in the front row bigging up the B team. A sterling effort with the signs, but I'm not too sure about wearing a shirt that says "Where's the B" merch on a day when Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel just launched their first piece of merchandise on the WWE shop. Still, 2 thumbs up for supporting the great men and for the effort. Last week, Philadelphia 76ers president Bryan Colangelo got himself into all kinds of hot water after being found to have used a number of burner accounts on Twitter to disparage his team, the fans, and some of his players. And last night, WWE effectively had Sami Zayn do almost the exact same thing to Bobby Lashley. Was this a rib? Are WWE trying to start a feud with the 76ers? Will Joel Embiid show up at Money in the Bank and batter both of these guys? At least it would make the feud more interesting. Speaking of Sami, did you see the distance that mad cunt was reading those DMs from? He didn't even have his glasses on either. Let me know who your optician is, my man, because these things suck. The 6-woman tag match was okay, but that finish. Jesus Christ, that finish. So Alexa Bliss walks out, leaving Ember Moon and Sasha Banks to face the Riot Squad alone. They do this for a while until Bayley turns up, decides to insert herself in the match, wins the match, and John Cone lets the whole thing slide with a big dopey look on his face. Apparently the officials don't know the rules because that should be an instant disqualification, and to make matters worse, it was up to Baron Corbin, a heel, to actually enforce the rules by overturning the result and rightly giving the Riot Squad their DQ victory. A big dumb move that made everyone involved look like a bleeding idiot apart from Baron Corbin. Less of this, please. Finn Balor vs Kevin Owens was solid if a tad long, but it did close with a memorable visual of Balor hitting his coup de grace from the top of a ladder, then grabbing the briefcase. That being said, it was a bit awkwardly executed as the referee had to visibly hold the ladder in place to prevent Finn from wobbling off as he was preparing to execute the move. +1 for health and safety, but aren't these guys supposed to be impartial? But perhaps the coolest thing about this spot was the fact that it was a near direct recreation of a spot that Owens and Balor worked at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn almost 3 years ago. WWE recreated everything from the precise camera angle to the way the lens moved in as Finn leapt off, creating an awesome callback to what was a great ladder match and an even better feud. This is the level of subtlety we all like to see, and I, for one, really appreciate that the commentators didn't batter us over the heads with the reference. It just goes to show that WWE can execute these moments, they just choose not to. So there you have it, our journey through Raw and its various Easter eggs, snafus and smaller details is complete once again. So head on down to the comments section below, let us know what you thought of the show, and maybe you picked up on a few smaller details yourselves. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and once you've done all that, why not head over to whatculture.com for more weapons grade content. With all that said, I've been Andy, you've been lovely, and I'll see you later.
So that was our video, thank you for watching. Please do feel free to click on anything happening around my head or something terrible might happen to this dog. Is that you too sweeting me, bro? Ugh. Disgusting. That's really bad.